Hello, gentlemen. Welcome to our eating establishment. Very well, have a seat right there, and I will give you the menu for the day. Yes, our bard is definitely available. If you shall request her, then she will be giving you one of the best stories that you've ever heard. All right, would you like to hear the special for the day? All right, very well. The special for the day is soup from ox tongue spiced with nutmeg, sliced leg of lamb with artichoke heart, kidneys and topped with raspberries and red currant. We have herring pie, scrambled eggs, anchovies and nuts, stewed prawns, minced pies with meat in as well as fruit, and spices, of course. Cheesecake is for dessert. And you may wash all of that down with our very well-known spiced wine. Ah, you've had our spiced wine before. Perfect. So would any of you gents care to order the special for the day? You, sir? You would. Okay. All right, and the rest of you? You would like to hear our special? Very well. All right. Can I bring any of you a beverage? I certainly can. We have apple drink with honey and sugar. We have ale drink, cider, raspberry wine, spiced wine, coffee, tea, and hot chocolate. All right. Perfect. All right. I'll get that right for you. Okay. Now, may I tempt you with other items on the menu? Yes? All right. I'd be happy to. So, we have a potage of mutton, veal or beef, in the English fashion, venison, baked red deer, sheep or calf's tongues, hash, leg of mutton, or lamb. We also have black pudding, chicken stew, freshly caught today, chickens with white broth, potage of quails, wild duck or mallard, and pigeons with rice. And we also have chicken pie, baked woodcocks, larks, blackbirds, or sparrows, grains and pasta, oatmeal pudding, ferment tea. What is that, you might ask? That is a sweet cream, and it is garnished with mace, nutmeg. It also has French barley, eggs served in rose water, pinado, oatmeal, mace, currants, eggs, and sugar. Oh, it's quite divine. And then we also have to offer water gruel oatmeal, and that has oatmeal, currants, sweet herbs, mace, nutmeg, musk, rosewater, sugar, and drawn butter. Yes, very delicious. Our side dishes are burdock root salad rosebud and clove gillyflowers. Oh, if you've never had gillyflowers before, you must give them a try. Yes, they're divine. And then we also have our apple cream salad. We also have a nice selection of fruits and vegetables. Marble paste of pomme citron. This is an excellent cordial paste. Paste of apricots or pear plums. Orange pudding. Delish. Pickled broom buds. Oh, so unique, so tasty. Our chef has a way with pickled broom buds like no other. We also have pickled cucumbers, preserved pears, preserved quinces, candied sprigs of rosemary. Oh yes, absolutely divine. And we also have cake with almonds, almond cream, almond paste, almond pudding, almond tarts, and paste of eringus roots. So, after all of that, if you care to order desserts or sweets, if you have any room, that is, to order, then we have baked pudding Italian fashion, trifle, apple cream, snow cream, rose water, and sugar beaten to a froth. That is what is in our snow cream. And we also have, for someone who's feeling a little naughty and not worried about that tummy line, we have fried apple pies. Rather decadent. Full sliced manchet. Okay. You've never heard of that before? Let me explain to you what it is. So it is our finest wheat bread. We put cream, eggs, mace, sugar, and rose water into it. And bake it, and it is so creamy, so delicate. Oh, mwah. Then we also have Ginato's bread. This is a delicate bread with hints of anise, lemon, sweet cream topped with rosewater sugar. Oh, so delicious. It's such a delicate dessert, but you won't be sorry if you order it. Then we also have Italian pudding, cheesecakes, French macarons, Italian biscuit, Naples biscuit, and shell bread. So what do you gents say? Have you made up your mind? Okay, very well. All right. And for you, sir? Okay. And you? All right. Oh, your ladies are going to be joining you later? All right. Okay. All right, well, enjoy your meal. And enjoy listening to our storyteller. She is very entertaining. Yes. All right. Enjoy.
Hello, my fair ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have properly imbibed plenty of meads and ales and wine, for it adds certainly extra interest to the tales that I shall tell you tonight. The tale I shall tell you tonight is of 3 chests and the wicked old man on the sea. Long ago, there was a goodly farmer, and he had 3 daughters. He tended to his farm, where he grew carrots and wheat and lettuces, and he occasionally had to go down to the nearby lake to fetch water. One day he went down to the lake, and an old man, Vitahenen, who lived in the lake, saw the farmer. Now Vitahenen, he knew that the farmer had 3 daughters. Vitahenen thought he could really use somebody around the house to do some cooking and some cleaning and to scratch his head before he went to sleep. And he thought, what better than one of the farmer's fair daughters. So Vitahenen grabbed the farmer and he held him under the water. And he said, and the farmer pled with him, please, please, let me go, let me go. And Vitahenen said, I will not let you go unless you give me one of your fair daughters. The farmer said, no, I only have 3 daughters. I cannot give one to you. And so Vitahenen held him further in the water, and as the life was beginning to drain from the farmer, he thought, well, I can't leave my daughters orphans. He thought, maybe for the good of the 3, I better sacrifice the oldest one. And so he said, fine, fine, you can have my oldest daughter. So Vitahenen released the farmer, and the farmer returned to his home. He spoke to his eldest daughter, and he said, my dear daughter, I've left a farm tool down at the lake. Would you be able to go and fetch it for me? And his daughter willingly agreed. She went down to the lake, and Vitahenen fetched her and dragged her off to the middle of the lake to his house there. When she came into the house, he gave her a ring of keys and treated her quite well. He said, these keys are to open any room in the house. You can open any room that you desire in the house but one. And he pulled the specific key from the ring and said, this key goes to that room, and you shall never open it. Now, this first daughter was quite fine with this. She went about her duties, doing spinning and making cloth, doing cooking and cleaning around the house, and of course, scratching Vitahenen's head at the end of the day. And she was relatively happy with things, but at the back of her mind was the idea of that key. What was behind that door? And why had he given her that key? Now Vitahenen would frequently leave during the day, and she thought, I can just sneak into the room and he would never know. And so she went and crept up to the key room. She checked around just to make sure that Vidahenen was not anywhere around. She put the key in, unlocked it, and opened the door. What she found was rather unremarkable. There were shelves with old papers and books and boxes, a few chests, but nothing really special at all. And she was about to just go back out of the room when she spotted, right in between some boxes, a chalice full of blood. And she thought that looked a little creepy, but something caught her eye in the middle of the chalice. She saw a golden ring. Now, when she saw this ring, she thought that would look beautiful on my finger. And she thought, it's sitting in the blood, but it's right above it. I think I can get it without touching the blood. And so she put her hand in, trying to pull it out, but she got a little bit of blood on her hand. She thought, no worry, I can just wash it off. And so she went back out of the room, the ring in tow. But she hid it so that Vidahenen would not see it, locked up the door, and continued about her duties. She went to wash her hands, but the blood wouldn't come off. But she thought, I'll just tell Vidahenen that I cut my finger. Won't be a worry. That evening, when Vidahenen came home, after he had eaten his meal, he asked her to scratch his head as normal. And when she reached in to start scratching right behind his ear, he said, I can feel blood on your fingers. What is that? And before she could make any excuse, Vidahenen had chopped off her head, for he was very displeased that she had broken his rule. So he opened the locked door and put her body in there, and her severed head as well. So he went for a few days, but thought it was quite inconvenient no longer having someone around to help out with the cleaning and all of that around the house. It's been really nice to have her. So he waited, and the next time the farmer was on his boat, the Vidahenen held the boat in place and let it start to take on some water right in the middle of the lake. And the farmer pled with him, oh, please stop, please, don't hold me here, I could die. And Vidahenen said, well, then give me your second daughter. And again, the farmer tried to resist, but Vidahenen was too strong. And so the farmer relented and said he would give Vidahenen his second daughter. And so the farmer went home, and he told his second daughter that he had forgotten some fish and left those on the shore of the lake. Could she go and get those? And when she went down to the shore of the lake, sure enough, Vidahenen caught her. And the same thing happened as happened with the first daughter. At first she was fine with the rules, but that curiosity just itched at the back of her head. She went in, she saw the ring, she had to have the ring, and she ended up beheaded. Now, by this time, the farmer had just one daughter left. And he was going about his business, quite unaware that his first two daughters had perished. And he was walking through the woods one day and saw the most beautiful pair of leather boots. They were gorgeous black leather, looked brand new but soft, with a nice silver buckle. And they were just laying there like somebody had just left them as a gift for him. And so he took his ratty old shoes off and slipped into the boots, which fit him perfectly. And he started to walk home. But his legs weren't taking him back to his farmhouse. His legs were walking him to the lake. And he tried to resist. He tried to take off the boots, but they were enchanted with a magical spell, and they would not stop. So Vitahenin was carried against his will down to the shore of the lake. And he got quite concerned because these boots didn't stop once he got to the lake. When he got to the lake, they just carried him even further in. When they were about up to his waist, of course, Vitahenin appeared. And he said, "Please give me your third daughter." And the farmer said, "I have no other daughters. I can't give you my only daughter." And so Vitahenin let the boots continue on their way. And it was up to the farmer's neck. And he could tell that Vitahenin was not going to let him survive. So finally the farmer relented, and he said, "Okay, you can have my third daughter." So the farmer returned to his home, and he told his third daughter that he needed her to go down to the lake to fetch some water. She went down to the lake, and again she was trapped by Vitahenin. When she was introduced to the rules of the house and allowed to go to any room, she too thought it was quite curious that she was not allowed to go into this room, but yet was given a key. She made her home quite well. She did spinning and cooking, and of course, scratching Vitahenin's head. One day, when Vitahenin was gone, the curiosity got to her. When she went into the room, she saw the old boxes and the papers. She didn't find that too exciting. And she saw the ring and the chalice, and that didn't really interest her either. Then she saw her two sisters both beheaded, and she was very unhappy about that. But she continued looking through to see what else there might be in this room. In there, she found two bottles. One was a bottle with the elixir of life, and one was a bottle with the elixir of death. So she held the severed head of her sisters to the body and gave them the elixir of life, and the two sisters were brought back to life. So she put the girls in the empty chests in the room, thinking that she had a plan. So she put the two sisters, who were now alive, back in the chest. By then, the elixir of life bottle was completely empty, so she put some of the elixir of death into the other bottle so it wouldn't look completely empty. When Vitahenin came home that evening, she prepared him food as normal and asked Vitahenin, please, can you take a chest for me out to the shore of the lake? I have just a few odds and ends around the house that I'd like to give to my father. It would mean so much to me if you would carry them out for me. And Vitahenin, because she was quite a good housekeeper, relented and said that he would take the chest for her. So the next morning he set off, carrying the chest, on the proviso that he did not look inside. She made sure that he would promise that. So the first sister was freed. On the next day, she asked again, oh, I have another chest. Would you please take another one? He was getting a little annoyed, but said, okay. And she said, again, please, I don't want to be embarrassed about the things. They're really very unimportant, and it would just be embarrassing for you to see them. So please, just make sure you don't look. And he agreed that he would not look into the chest. And he carried this heavy chest across the lake and left it on the shore for the farmer to find. Now, the youngest daughter had an idea for what to do to free herself as well. She did not want to just free her two sisters. And so she got into a chest the next day. She prepared the night before by asking Vitahenin again to take a chest across the lake for him. And he said he would. But secretly, in his mind, he was thinking, I'm going to look inside this time, because I'm annoyed that she keeps asking me to carry these chests across the lake. But she was a step ahead. She set up on the top of the house a stuffed doll that looked just like her, and set out her spinning wheel so it looked like she was spinning on the roof. Then from within the chest she said, Vitahenin, will you please make sure you're taking that chest out? But she was very clever to make her voice sound as if it was coming from the roof. So he was annoyed, but he said, okay. And so he started across the lake, and he stopped, and each time when he stopped, she would say, oh, Vitahenin, you promised you wouldn't look inside, but was able to make her voice sound like it was coming back from the house. And he went a bit farther, and he thought, surely I'm out of her eye shot by now, and said, oh no, Vitahenin, please don't check. You don't want to embarrass me. And he kind of rolled his eyes, but went a bit farther. And when he got to the shore, he thought, surely I'll be able to check now. But she still said, making her voice sound like it was from very far away, oh, Vitahenin, thank you, but remember, you promised you wouldn't look inside. So he was a bit annoyed and thought, well, I better get some really good hair scratches tonight, and went back to the house. When he went back to the house, after all that time, it was getting late in the evening and should be time for his dinner, and yet the youngest daughter was still sitting on the roof. He was quite confused. What are you doing still up on the roof? And yet she did not reply. She could hear me all that distance. Why isn't she replying? And he went up to the roof and found what had happened. And he was very angry. And he was so angry that he ended up cutting himself on the spinning wheel. And he was very, very angry. And he was going to use some of his elixir of life and drink that down. But because it was, in fact, the elixir of death that was in the bottle, he dropped dead on the spot. And the youngest daughter was found by her farmer dad and able to rejoin her two sisters. And there was a story throughout the land that Vitahenin had disappeared, kind of a karmic good deed. And that's the story of how the youngest daughter saved her two sisters from the evil Vitahenin. The end. I hope you've enjoyed my story tonight. Hopefully your bellies are full, your minds are full, and you're ready to wander off to a lovely slumber.